Hi, everyone. This is Travis.
This is Jonathan.
And we'd like to welcome you to the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast.
This is the podcast that eventually plays the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
Guaranteed.
You can take that to the bank. I don't know just go to what does that mean?
Take that to the bank. I don't know. Something like you tell the teller, like you go in, you can take that straight to the bank. And because you usually have to, you don't always have to see a teller. Sometimes you can just use the cash
ATM.
machine.
I use the ATM.
I do too. I don't mind waiting in line to use the ATM, but when I go in the bank,
it's the attitude.
Yeah, I don't want to be in there. I'm like, why am I in here? I'm going to go outside and wait for the ATM. There's nothing that the machine can't do as far as bank stuff, Oh,
well, maybe that's what it means. Like, take that to the bank, but not the teller, the ATM, because it's easier.
That makes sense. I knew it was
and more dependable.
I knew it was something with the teller. But that makes sense. Yeah, it is more dependable. You facts and figures you get straight from the machine.
Take that to the bank, but don't bother with the teller. Go straight to the ATM.
Straight to the ATM. I
guess that's what it means.
That does. That makes. I knew it had something to do with the teller, but I wasn't quite sure. Enough about that, though. Hey, I'm excited. I know our listeners are very excited.
Me too. I'm excited.
What is on this mystery tape, Jonathan? For 2 weeks now, you've been building this up, a cliffhanger as you call it. He's still hanging on the cliff. Here we are. This is you mentioned it, and then we didn't listen to it, and then last week you mentioned it, and we kind of got distracted, and we didn't have time, and you said, oh, we'll do it this week, and here's the week. So I don't want to distract us anymore. Let's hear that mystery tape. Let's go. I can't wait. I am excited.
I completely forgot that I was supposed to do the mystery tape this week.
But that's what you've built it up for 2 weeks now. It's been 2 weeks.
I know.
Well,
I'm so far removed from it was for the 30th episode anniversary. This is what, 32? Like, I didn't even think we had to do anything special for it.
No.
I just forgot.
Well, it wasn't planned to do anything special. It's just that you said for the past couple of weeks we were going to listen to this, and we haven't. I don't know what it is, and our listeners don't know what it is.
I'm not going to feel too bad about it. I just spaced, I guess. I walked out of the house. I left it on the counter.
Well, that is just kind of an extra bonus.
It's been on the counter. Here's what happened if you want to do a deep dive into this. Last time, after we talked about it, and then we got distracted. Right, we're going to do it. Episode 30.
Right.
31, we're going to do it this time. Then I don't feel like it. Then 32, this time, I said, but let me put it last time by the door on the counter where I put all the important things. I just walked by it this time. It wasn't even in my head.
Well, things, we get preoccupied with life and things
I'm not going to let it bother me.
Well, that's fine.
We can talk about plenty of things.
Well, no, it's the main reason we're here is to listen to 100 Ways to Love a Cat. Like I said, this mystery tape was just kind of an extra bonus.
I'm not going to beat myself up about it.
You shouldn't. I'm not going to beat you up over it. You did mention it for 2 weeks, my curiosity is still there. But you do have it still, but just not here with you.
I hope so.
Well, maybe
I could have knocked it off into the trash. The only problem with the counter by the door where I put all my important things is it's so easy because the trash can's right there. I can't tell you how many things I've knocked off.
You can move the trash can where it's not.
It kind of works where it's at. I don't know. I'm like 90% sure that it was still there. I'll check as soon as I get home. Don't worry about it. Next week, we are definitely going to resolve the cliffhanger.
Okay. That's fine.
Which was more exciting? You stumble off a cliff and you grab onto a vine, and then you immediately climb back up. Or you stumble off a cliff, you grab onto a vine, and like 3 weeks later, when your muscles are so tired and your joints hurt, and you're like, I can't hold on to this vine for one more dad-blamed second, and then you find the strength within, or maybe there's a bear at the bottom that gives you that extra push, not literal push, but you just see it and you get scared. Up the cliff you go. Like, oh, that was literally the last minute. Like, we couldn't have pushed it off any further than that.
But hopefully,
That's exciting.
Sure, and as long as it's not, you didn't knock it into the garbage. I hope that's not the case.
I hope so too.
Well, maybe take it out, put a note. Sometimes I put notes on things. Far be it from me to tell you how to remember things, but people tie strings on their fingers, which I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense. That's just going to make me go, "There's a string on my finger." Well, that's
it made me irritated all day.
Yeah, it was like, oh, what's string on? Why this stupid string on my finger?
It's like if I have a Band-Aid on my finger. I finally got that full box of Band-Aids, by the way.
Oh, good.
So dreams do come true.
Good.
But if I have a Band-Aid on my finger, and I put one on, and I know this because I just did this, because I had the brand new box of Band-Aids, and you know how you want to give it a spin. So I put one on my finger, and all that does is a germ magnet. So it gets wet. You go to the bathroom. There's germs in there. You take a drink of something, ketchup, mustard, whatever you're dragging your finger through all day long. So by the end of the day, it's filthy and smells like a delicatessen. So I said, no more. I'm going to just put a little gauze and replace it constantly. Because I think that's the thing with Band-Aids, that costs money.
They do. I mean, especially if you constantly have cuts,
As we get older.
Sure, that's true. As we get older, the skin becomes much more cuttable.
A little gauze, just a little bandage, and just keep changing it.
Well, gauze, it seems like all that could even absorb more, like ketchup and various condiments could absorb more into some gauze as opposed to the Band-Aid. But
I just grew up in a household that was, if you put a Band-Aid on, even if it was one of the cheap, like Curads, then my stepfather was like, no, watch it, don't. We're not made of Band-Aids, right? So a Band-Aid was a precious thing. It was helpful to protect the cut and to cushion it if you were always mashing something with your cut finger. But it was also something that cost money. Because he was like, I use name brand Band-Aids, and they cost money. And then if we used the one that was the off-brand, I said, but no, Dad, this is a Curad. He said, first of all, don't call me Dad. Second of all, those also cost money, just not as much. So I kind of got it both barrels, so it didn't really matter. But I learned to be thrifty when it came to Band-Aids or whatever the generic term is.
Band-Aids, they cost even more when they have a Star Wars on it or a turtle on it.
No, he would not.
Well, that's for children, because when children cut themselves, it's very traumatic, and to appease that, you get a Tweety Bird or, oh, look, now what's on your finger? But to me, it just seems like that would ruin Tweety Bird for me. That would, like, every time I saw a Tweety Bird, I would think about that time I, slit, the skin in between my fingers. I'm going to remember that Band-Aid being stuffed down in there and looking at. So to me, I think there's no reason to pay extra for that.
That's what Mark said. He said, injuries are serious. If you start putting on a Tweety Bird every time you gash your finger open, then you're going to be doing it for fun. And I'm not going to run into the emergency room every time I turn around because you thought it would be fun to get a Roadrunner on your pinky. Right. He said, injuries are serious. We take them, put on your grave face, because this is serious time.
I guess that's for much younger children. But again, like I said, I think that just causes trouble in a whole other...
Not an excuse in my household.
Yeah. Well, let's listen to the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat. We didn't forget that. We'll never forget that.
I don't want to seem flippant. I just walk out of the house and do what I want. It was an honest mistake.
I think you've explained yourself.
I make enough of those. This is not one I'm going to let follow me around and ruin my day, okay?
No, I don't want it to ruin your day, and I don't want it to ruin my day or any of our listeners. We have next week, like you said. We'll be back next week. We're going to hear what's on this.
Almost positive next week is the week.
Well, great. I'm looking forward to it. And if it doesn't happen, I'm still going to play this song right here.
Hey,
What?
No, that was great. That was very like a DJ.
That's when I kind of
messed it up already. So
no. Did you have something else?
I was going to say, when I get home, I'm going to wrap a Band-Aid around my finger because I'll be like, I didn't cut myself, so why is this Band-Aid here? It's expensive, and I'll know it's very important.
No, that makes more sense than a string.
I'll be like, it's filthy and expensive what am I trying to do? And then I'll be like, the tape.
I'm not even hurt. It's the tape. You could actually write on the Band-Aid. You could take a Sharpie pen and write TAPE, tape, right there on the Band-Aid. And so when you look at the Band-Aid and you think, oh, I didn't hurt myself. What have I got?
I may even draw a little Tweety Bird on there just because I can now because I'm an adult.
All right. Here's 100 ways to love a cat.
There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 1. Keep a tidy house for them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 2. Be sure to clip their claws. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 3. Scoop their box daily. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 4. Brush them with a hairbrush. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 5. Don't squeeze their paws hard. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 6. Give them some fresh water. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 7. Let them have a fish. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 8. Buy them a scratching post. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 9. Put them in your lap. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 10. Be quiet when they're sleeping. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 11. Whisper, I love you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 12. Rub their soft belly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 13. Make sure their tail is clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 14. Give them a yarn ball. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 15. Make them a nice bed. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 16. Buy him some catnip. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 17. Play them some music. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 18. Get them a cute collar. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 19. Make sure they're vaccinated. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 20. Take their picture. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 21. Brush their teeth. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 22. Let them watch TV. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 23. Don't let them be outside by themselves. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 24. Feed them some cat food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 25. Make sure their eyes are clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 26. Put a liner in their box. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 27. Give them a mat to wipe their feet on. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 28. Don't forget them on Christmas. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 29. Make sure they're spayed or neutered. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 30. Hold them like a baby. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 31. Let them have a towel or blanket. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 32. Keep your toilet lid down. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 33. Don't let them chew on power cords. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 34. Set them by the window. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 35. Cat-proof your home. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 36. Change their litter weekly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 37. Praise them lavishly. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 38. Never feed him chicken bones. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 39. Teach them a funny trick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 40. Give them a toy mouse. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 41. Clean up their hairballs. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 42. Keep them away from candles. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 43. Give him a separate zone. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 44. Never play with them aggressively. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways. 100 loving loving ways. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 45. Increase his cuddle time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 46. Be sure to watch his weight. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 47. If you leave, turn on the radio. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 48. Scold him firmly but with kindness. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 49. Respond when he meows. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 50. Give them a thing of cat grass. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 51. Scratch under his chin. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 52. Remind him that you love him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 53. Give them a box to play in. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 54. If they're old, help them get down. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 55. Let them lick you with their rough tongue. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 56. Record precious memories. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 57. Dress them up in ribbons. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 58. Give them a flea treatment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 59. Make a vet appointment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 60. Give them a little wet food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 61. When they scratch you, don't get angry. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 62. Give them some private time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 63. Treat them with respect. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 64. When he grooms himself, say good job. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 65. Let them chase a laser pointer. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 66. Clean out their ears. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 67. Never smoke around them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 68. Buy a sturdy cat carrier. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 69. Listen to them purr. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 70. Tempted by temptations. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 71. Give them your full attention. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 72. Don't trap them in the laundry basket. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 73. Let them sleep in bed with you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 74. Make sure they're not locked in the closet. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 75. Don't let them play in plastic bags. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 76. Give them a massage. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 77. Touch him as you pass by. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 78. If he's on the couch, don't be mad. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 79. If they hate fans, turn the fan off. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 80. When there's a bird outside, say, hey, look. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 81. Intrigue them with a funny sound. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 82. Don't forget sardine time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 83. Let him play with your old socks. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 84. Stroke in the direction that his fur goes. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 85. Admire his long whiskers. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 86. Keep his box away from his food. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 87. Pretend that he's a piano. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 88. Don't interrupt them while they're eating. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 89. When they're scared, go and comfort them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 90. let him have a lick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 91. If their breath stinks, give them greenies. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 92. Give him a ball with a bell in it. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 93. If it's hot, put ice in their bowl. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 94. Let him drink out of the sink. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 95. Don't vacuum if it scares him. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 96. Draw a picture of him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 97. If you drop some food, it's theirs now. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 98. Read him a book. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 99. Feed him again. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 100. Just love them every day. 100 loving ways. 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 100 ways to love a cat.
There you have it. 100 ways to love a cat.
Always good to hear it. Never lets me down. Never forgets to bring a tape in, a cassette tape that's going to be a mystery surprise.
Well, that's
for our 30th episode anniversary.
Well, no, that's going to be it'll be the 30. What is this? This is 31 or 32?
This is 32. So
the
this
next
will be
is
33.
So the
Jesus.
30. So is that was Jesus' age? Like when he was?
I think when it all went down.
When he became what
we know of him as today.
That's true.
I have written a letter during the song. I wrote a letter to myself. I addressed it to myself to send it. I'm going to drop it in the mail. I got to buy a stamp, but I'm going to send it to myself. I can buy a stamp when I go to the post office to mail it so that I get a reminder letter. I've set an alarm on my cell phone, I think. I don't really know how to work these things. And when I get home, I'm going to set an alarm on my alarm clock. That'll just go off every day until next week, so I'll know to remind myself, and I'm going to have somebody call me. Oh, would you call me?
I'd be happy to. I'd be more than happy.
Oh,
I will put a Band-Aid.
easy.
I will put a Band-Aid on my finger and write with a Sharpie on it. Call Jonathan, and that's exactly what I'll do. And maybe at first I won't remember why I need to call you, but that will come to me. Well, I'd put a second Band-Aid on the other finger and just write about the tape, like call Jonathan about the tape.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't use all your Band-Aids.
Well, it's this is worth it. I want to hear.
Oh boy, I just have a tick where that's the things you say to kids. I bet if I asked Mark now about this, he might even be like, I mean, he won't answer the phone if he knows it's me, but he probably would say, I don't even know what you're talking about. I get that a lot. He's like, no, you told me don't yell at the cows when you drive by. Roll the window up. This is not a farm. Is not a place. He's like, why would I do that? I'm like, I don't know, but you did. Anyway, it's funny. You just have to be careful around kids.
Sure. You do have to.
And when you call me, if I can't find it, I may say, hey, on your way over here to pick me up to record the podcast, you're gonna have to help me dig through the trash because I can't find this tape.
Well, if that's what it takes, I'm happy to do it.
It will be worth it. I promise.
I want to know what it is. My curiosity is piqued. I want to dig around in that garbage if I have to, because I want to find out what it is, and I hope all of our listeners want to find out what it is too. And if you do, we're going to remember. We'll get a lot of Band-Aids on us. We won't forget.
This is a fun arc. The whole thing about me forgetting the tape.
Well, it wasn't planned that way. It is.
It's just fun, though.
Sure.
I think it's more fun than if I just played it the first time.
Well,
right?
It's not for me to say. I'm kind of in it, so I can't.
Well, I'd love to hear from the fans.
Okay, that's who we needed. That's who would have to let us know that. But to all of our fans, thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed 100 Ways to Love a Cat. If something terrible happens, if the Band-Aid falls off my finger, if we can't find it in the garbage, do not fret. We still want you to come back next week because you will be hearing This We Can Guarantee.
If anyone is listening to us right now, find us online and remind us.
That would help too.
There's a
Facebook that goes up on
I don't like that, but
it's where is there a Twitter? There's a Twitter. There's a Facebook. There's a YouTube.
There's a YouTube. Isn't there a we have an email, I think, a Gmail. I don't know what it is. 100
Ways to Love a Cat.
Just send it out to a bunch of different permutations of 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
It'll get to us, I guarantee you, some way or another. And also any comments you have, or what is iTunes? We're on iTunes. Too. You can go on there and
you could go on there and leave us a comment and just say, "Don't forget to play the mystery tape. Bring that in. We need help. Obviously, I need help. If anyone's even listening to this, I need to know. This would be a great way for you to make contact and let us know.
And to let us know if you're listening, and also to help remind us to bring the tape, or Jonathan to bring the tape next week. So looking forward to that. Thank you so much,
Thanks so much, everybody,
for listening. We appreciate your help.